Hello and good evening to all of us who are watching and who will join us live in a while. Welcome to Poorna Wellbeing Samvaada, a session where we invite a guest and we explore a particular topic and a theme, a topic that means something to our well-being. So today the topic we are exploring is unmasking relationships. And I'm very, very happy to invite my dear friend and a very well-known psychotherapist and a relationship coach, Sujata Ameya. Hi, Sujata, and welcome.
Thank you,
So,
Deepa. Pleasure to be here again with you.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, just to share something about Sujata, she describes herself as a die-hard romantic who had to deconstruct love. Very interesting, Sujata. As a transpersonal psychotherapist and a relationship coach, she has helped over 14,000 people. Wow. To work with conflict in relationship as a mirror to self and a path to one's purpose. She is the author of When the Beloved Calls, and this is her book. And I was very fortunate to have received it from her last year. This is a personally signed copy, and that makes it very special, Sujata. Thank you. It's a
Thank
collection
you.
of poems and art based which is based on her own personal experience. And those who know her, I mean, the way I knew her initially was she's this person who has constructs, models, and so picture perfect with her words, so well crafted phrases she would use. And this book was I really met her in a very different and a very beautiful, raw, artistic, right-brained fashion, which is such a refreshing change. So this made her complete in my mind. Ye bhi hai, wo bhi hai. So that was very beautiful, Sujata. And I'm sorry I'm saying it, but that's how I felt.
No, no, thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate your transparency and authenticity. Thank you so much.
Yeah. She offers two signature workshops that powerfully evoke uh, many experiential insights in the participants. And they are called the art and science of self-actualization and the art and science of the beloved, which really speaks of her as the right and the left, the art and the science. So nice, very beautiful.
Yes.
So
Thank
today
you.
we are
Thank
here
you
to
so much, Deepa.
uh, today we are here to explore this topic on masks we wear or unmasking in our relationships. And this is a very important topic. And I feel today, and as we were discussing, Sujata and I were discussing some time back, it was very interesting for me to note that this particular flyer on Samvaada has reached 3,000 plus people. And I was asking Sujata how it's surprising to me that none of my Samvadas have reached so many people. Why is this happening? Sujata, would you like to share what you shared? It was very powerful for me to listen.
Yeah, I said that this is probably the most alive topic for everyone on earth. The need to belong and the need to feel safe and secure in a relationship. And I think pre-corona there was a certain framework in which we were just going on and life was going on. Now that this has happened, the pandemic has happened, and everything has changed so drastically. We don't have the places where people could go away to. They are right now just in each other's faces. A lot of unaddressed things are coming up, and people are
Yes,
in a state of
yes,
discovery or strife or dread or some combination of the things. So
absolutely.
relationships is a evergreen, never die kind of a
Yeah,
topic. So
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
surprised that.
Absolutely. And I agree with you because I personally felt it at the start of Corona. I mean, everybody was around here. It was difficult because I felt like a lack of space. And slowly I started inquiring, what am I uncomfortable with? What in me what's uncomfortable? And I think then this topic became very alive and relevant to me. It was not just a subject of study, but a subject of personal study and self-exploration. So this
Yes.
topic and this conversation is as important to me, Sujata, as it is to the people who are watching us right now live.
Yes. So it is for me. So it is for me. There's a friend I have. She always has, prodded me. She's like, no matter what people say, no matter what people ask, wherever you're invited, whatever it is, you'll always go. You never say no. I said, no, I won't say no because it is these things that help me focus internally and kind of articulate what is it that I'm learning and absorbing from my client work, and also what have I discovered, how far have I moved from where I was last time in my own personal journey as well. So this is
Very
a
true.
mutual exploration, and this is an exploration for everybody, and I
Yeah,
hope that whatever we discuss adds some value to all the
yeah,
people who are
yeah,
listening in right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you're saying in giving we receive, and you in giving you're receiving.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, beautiful,
absolutely.
beautiful,
Yes,
beautiful.
yes,
So
yes.
you have been an incredible psychotherapist and so well known. You have impacted so many individuals with your workshops and even conversations. And I remember how impacted I felt also when I would have the last time when we had the conversation. So, what has been your journey to be where you are today, Sujata?
Okay. So, see, very quickly, I was brought up by my grandparents. So, these are people born almost more than a century ago now. They're no more. So, we had a home which was less of a, or we had a house which was less of a home and more of a chowl tree, like a
Hmm.
open door
So,
lodge where people just came, stayed, ate, bathed, just hung around. And I don't remember feeling any sense of connection or belonging with anybody in the family, feeling very lost, very invisible, very lonely. And that kind of made me withdraw into my own head, which is what you saw when you met me the first time.
yes,
That doesn't
yes.
mean I didn't have a heart. It
Yeah,
also made me go into my own woundedness and
yeah,
a very deep inquiry about who am I, what is this world, what are we here for, those kinds of things very early on. Just I was 12, 13, I remember having those thoughts. I think it just became a very natural choice to pursue this line, although it was highly disapproved both by the family and the friends friend circle I had. I was a good student, so everyone assumed I will do either medicine or engineering or one of those good professions, or at least not this mad people's profession, as psychology was known those days. But I'm glad that I did that, and I think it's been just an organic growth. I think I shared this with you last time as well. During my training
yes.
in Enhance is when I discovered that this thing about marriage, family, and couples has a very strong pull for me. Something
Mm.
about the nature of this relationship as different from a blood relationship.
Yes.
What is it that makes it tick? How do people connect to each other? What is the hunger? What is the search? What is the journey? I think those things have been big drivers. And
Mm.
I never will ever tire of acknowledging the deep, deep, deep gratitude and the deep privilege I've had to
bang on, the loneliness, it is really fear based also, that what will happen to me if I'm lonely? Heaven will fall and I can't handle that. That feeling is very, very scary, and that stops us from being authentic. And that stops us from even removing the mask if we have.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
true. It's very true.
Yes.
And you earlier talked about lack of agency. Um, you know, Actually, when you talked about lack of agency, what came to me in my mind was this helpless inner child, be it mine or be it my clients or be it any of us. When I was helpless then, I did not have an agency. I have not healed that. It's turned into a wound, maybe a trauma. And I carry that into my adulthood, and I still am there helpless because I am hold and I have not worked on that. So that could be one of the reasons also where we hold our masks so uptight.
Possibly. In some cases, that may be the case. That it is a inbuilt psychological pattern of helplessness based on whatever childhood experience you've had. That may be possible, but many a times it's related to what you just said before you asked this question. Many a times it's related to the fear of losing this current relationship
That's true.
or whatever current engagement. So it's such a oxymoronic, ironic kind of thing. In order to not lose the relationship, you wear a mask, but wearing the mask creates the loneliness that you're afraid of.
Inauthenticity. Yeah, yeah,
So it's a chicken and egg circle that just feeds each other. So, and this is not just about relationships in anything. The one thing that you're trying to avoid, the one thing that you're afraid, and therefore you will do something inauthentic, will definitely manifest. That is just the way it is. It's like what you run away from, you will meet on the way.
yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
So
So
that is
agree.
what it is. Yeah, you're right.
And
So I think some of it is unexplored woundedness from childhood, which remains
yeah,
as a semi-conscious mask for us.
yeah,
And a
yeah,
lot of it is also conscious, where you know that it's not working for you, but you're so scared of rocking the boat. You
yeah.
don't want
That's
to
correct.
push the cart
That's
one way
correct.
or the other.
That's
You know?
correct. That's
Yeah,
correct. I
yeah.
have had experiences where uh, uh, the truth has been spoken and the partner has asked, "Did you ever love me, or was it all a game
Mm.
for you?" And
Mm.
that was the moment of truth where you face the truth. Really, did I love? Was it a mask? So what is real? Is the mask real? Am I real? What is real? So have you faced
Mm.
these where people when they have the mask, they really don't know what is real to themselves?
Yeah, yeah. So here, I think the example you're giving falls under the masks of roles. Okay,
Hmm.
so many a times we pull on with things, even though internally we feel different, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. So if I ask many of the couples I work with, do you really love your spouse? Most of them can't answer that because they don't want to
Yes.
lie, but they can't answer the truth. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't ask them. I'm making an assumption here. I've not had an ask this question to anyone, but that it's because you don't consider those things, right? And I think in a marriage, it's also fairly pointless to consider that, because this is something I say in talk after talk after talk. Marriage is a separate planet. It has its own rules. It has its own regulations, and I think the idea of fitting love, romance, intimacy, and fulfillment on top of the marital cake is a new idea. I think just in the last 20, 30, 40 years, we are trying to put all kinds of things on that basket. It never was about that.
Funny.
No, it's not funny. It's tragic. It's very tragic because,
Yeah, actually,
see,
I meant that.
if you go if you go with the original idea of a marriage, it was very simple. It was like, you look after this one
Yeah,
will give
yeah,
you children,
responsibility. Yeah.
and you all look after each other, and let's have a predictable, secure, safe life. The wife knew exactly what she had to do, the husband knew exactly what he had to do to call it a happening and happy marriage. And now we have all kinds of things on top of it. Spiritual evolution and deep intimacy and this and that. And marriage is not meant to deal with all that, yeah. Which is why it's falling apart.
Yeah.
Falling apart how? It's not the youngsters who are walking away from marriage. They're not getting into it only. The older people about
Yeah.
35, 45, 55, all the way to 60, 65. They're saying,
Yeah.
I don't even know what I've been doing all my life. At least the last 20,
Yes.
20 25 years, I want to be authentic.
Yes.
So that's a
Yes.
different tragedy of a different kind of mass that has to do with the role delivery of the marital system. The marriage and
Mm.
family are a certain kind of system that demands a certain kind of role play. And if you are
Mm.
willing to play those roles by the rules of the game, you have a nice framed family picture on the wall and also on Facebook. But if you don't play the
Yeah.
game in that way, then you don't have those pictures.
Yeah, and what you're saying actually reminds me of a lot of women have this victim sacrificial martyr mask or persona. I don't know what you call it, it's a mask or a persona or whatever. Sometimes you can say it's a personality pattern. But there are a lot of times today women are waking up with the fact that I don't want to be the sacrificial good. I don't want to sacrifice all the time. So, what do you have to say about it today when you say that the system has given this role to them, an expectation, and when they are waking up today?
So you're talking about women being women wearing the sacrificial mask. Why do they wear
Yeah,
it? What's your
yeah.
question?
So I think I have a feeling that they are wearing it because that's an expectation. That's a role. That's a part of the role. But
I see.
today, women are saying that's not a part of the role, and they are waking up to it. They're saying, "I'm not going to be the person who is sacrificing," and that also disrupts the system of the family.
Correct.
And there's
Correct.
a
Oh
lot
God.
that happens, and then there's a confusion. There's a lot, and then they're saying, "Is it okay to rock the boat?" But that's not me. And then they talk about authenticity and all of this. So
Yes. 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 Got it. Got it. Oh my God. You brought in two gigantic Pandora's boxes into the discussion now.
yeah,
So
yeah,
one is one is the concept of individuation, and one is the
mhm,
concept of integration. So
mhm.
these two
Okay.
things are playing out big time right now in society as we speak. I
Yes,
think there's a collective energy that's
yes,
driving
yes.
all of
I
this.
see that absolutely.
So, so yeah. So now, when women are questioning some of the rules and the game rules of the game,
Yes.
they are going to say, "But why? But why is this so? But why is that so?" So
Mhm.
obviously, when they ask those questions, some of them are at least asking the questions and leaving it be. Some of them are asking the questions and wanting the answer. Some of them are too scared to ask the questions. So there are different stages and grades of all this that is going on. So what happens here is, I use the word individual
words. We have every right to do that. And so what's that path? What's that route to go that way?
Yeah. Yeah, so nicely put, huh? It's a simple question with a big answer. Very true. so, so here's what I would say. The first step, the very first step would be to acknowledge that we have masks, all of us, some self masks which are even to ourselves internally, and some masks that we wear to the outside world as well. So the first thing is to recognize and acknowledge that this phenomenon of masking exists. That's the first step. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to consider whether the lack of joy and peace and vibrancy that you're feeling may have something to do with these masks. To explore,
Yeah.
to go with a very open minded exploration into that whole inner
Yeah.
scape, inner world, to see if that is actually happening. And also to recognize that this is not a defined linear process where we start with, okay, I identified 73 masks and it's going to take me about 19 weeks to get to a maskless state. It is not like that, right? It is not like that at all. So, so it is not a finite nor a linear journey. Please understand that. Yeah. And now, anything about when you about the inner world, it is never finite, it is never linear. It is
Yeah.
infinite and it is spiral. Okay. So now, when you are willing to accept these ground rules of how it works, then what happens is you discover a mask, you figure out what it is trying to save you from, you take a deep breath and decide and choose and work on letting go of that thing. And then you wake up the next morning and find another mask. So the process
Yeah.
is, ongoing. So be
Yeah.
ready for that. Be ready for
Yeah.
that, number one.
Yeah.
And then I think it's a matter of recognizing that as you do more will come, more masks you
Yeah.
will discover. It doesn't mean that you are a hopeless case.
Yeah. Yeah.
It simply it simply means that we are all human, and this
Yeah.
is the kind of masked existence we have, and
Yeah.
that is the fun. That is the fun.
Yeah.
Every day you'll discover something about yourself. How amazing is that? How awesome is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Right?
And
So
it also
that's
says
what I
you're
would say.
authentic.
Sorry.
It also says that you're authentic. You're ready to look at the next few that have like you have peeled something
The,
and you're ready to see the next one, next layer.
Correct, correct. And also, you will meet some of these interesting things on the way. One is this is a classic. You will say, but I thought I finished this last year. How come it's happening again?
Yeah.
Right? But that's because it's a spiral journey. You circle the
Yeah.
same milestones again and again, but at a greater and greater
Depth.
greater
Yeah.
depth, greater
Yeah.
understanding, greater
Yes.
insight, greater
Yes.
expansion. So it's
Yeah.
a expanding kind of a journey, right? So that's important. However,
Yeah.
on this, I do want to say that it is important to identify two things very carefully. One is the person who can guide you with this properly, and it
Yes.
is never one
Absolutely.
person. It is never one person. It can be multiple people. It can be books, authors, videos,
Yeah. Yeah.
satsang,
Yeah.
coaches, counselors, therapists, neighbors,
Yeah.
train companions. It doesn't matter who it is. Somebody somewhere will deliver something to you, which is your message, your takeaway, and that will help. So I think it's important to develop the discernment to take what someone is saying and apply it, or to decide that, oh, this doesn't apply to me, let me not just take it. So I think
Yes.
being participative and taking ownership of this journey is very critical. So I would not
Yes.
recommend going looking for this one guru who will salvage you. It doesn't work like that. I think ownership in this path is very, very critical. So one is that, and second is to recognize that this should not become a project that takes
Mm.
that very
Mm.
little leftover joy out of you. This should be
Mm.
a adventure. This should be a
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
This should be like a fun thing that you do
Yeah.
every day, and you
Yeah.
meet
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
unpleasant
Yeah.
things on the way, and that's okay. That's part of life.
Yeah.
It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
So to be in a space of openness and acceptance, and pursue the journey rather than having this very strict idea of, by the end of this life I shall be completely maskless. It doesn't work like
Yeah.
that. At
Yeah. It's
least
not a
I don't.
fight.
I haven't experienced that. Yeah, it's not a fight,
It's not a
nor
war.
is it a project to finish. It's nor is it a competition, nor is it
Yeah.
a, like I said, a project. It is a journey. It is a
Yes.
journey, and you keep doing what you can.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
Very
hope
true.
that
So
answers your
beautiful.
question.
Very beautifully put. I think I would like to re-emphasize the importance of working with somebody who can guide you. And the somebody can be a book. I think it's so important because I think that's what helped me. Otherwise, I would have been like a headless chicken running in circles, not knowing what's the head and the tail. It's so important. I think very beautifully put, Sujata. There is one more aspect that's coming to me, and
So,
I think I'll voice it.
Deepa, hold on
Yes,
that. I just want to add one more thing to this. This is very
yes,
important.
yes,
So, see,
absolutely.
in the process of finding the people, in the process of finding the people who
Yeah,
will help you, finding the right guide or guides, we are saying,
yes, yes,
also be prepared and also expect that you will have many false teachers also.
yeah. That is true.
By
That is true.
false
Yeah.
teachers,
Of course.
by false teachers, what I mean by that is, it will appear like they will have the answer or the map to what we are seeking,
Yes,
but actually they don't have that, but they'll end up teaching you something else.
yes.
And the something else always is discernment. Discernment.
Correct.
Vivekam, we say.
Absolute. Absolute.
That is the most critical thing we need. And it is by going through
Yes,
repeatedly all the false gurus that you will actually realize who
yes,
the true guru
yes,
is. And
yes,
often that is your
yes,
inner voice. It's your inner voice. There's nothing else out there. Yeah.
yes.
So I wanted to
Correct.
just add that. Yeah.
You're saying go through the fire if you have to, and then discernment builds. It's true.
Yes.
It's
It,
really,
it
it's a
won't come any
natural
other way.
phenomena you're
It
talking
won't
about.
come any other way.
Yeah, actually, I
Yes,
think
yes.
I lost my
It
thought.
is,
There was
it is like,
yeah.
unless, oops, I'm so sorry.
No, no, I got it. I got it. I
Well,
got
I
it
think
back.
it'll come back if it's meant to be
Yeah,
discussed.
it's come back. Yeah, go ahead, Sujata. I
Tell
think
me.
both of us are so passionate about this topic that there is so much. Sujata, are you there?
I could hear you. Can you repeat?
Yeah, I'm saying both of us are so passionate about this topic that there is so much to discuss.
Yes,
You're
yes, yes, yes.
frozen.
Yes.
Yeah. So the other thought that had come to me is that to unmask, I think we need to be tired enough to live a life without joy. If I'm not frustrated enough and tired enough to live this lifeless life, I don't think there is any call to unmask. There is not enough steam to unmask.
Okay. Deepa,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but your question came in bits and pieces. I couldn't understand what you were asking.
Okay, okay. I think there's a connectivity issue, but I'll repeat it. So the thought that I had, Sujata, can you hear me now?
Okay. Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The thought that I had was the urge or the
Yes, I can.
desire to unmask and to live authentic has to be so strong that you're willing to go through it. If that urge, if you're not tired enough of your lifelessness, of the of the yeah, the non-spontaneous life, all that we described, if
Mhm.
you're not tired enough, there wouldn't be enough
Mhm.
motivation to from within to take that route.
To do that.
Yeah, that was a thought that I had.
Yes.